What's going on, fellas? It's the last good man in Jersey here with the message on how you can win. In this case, by screening out low quality women as early as possible. We're going to jump into a session about a recent date I had that didn't go well, but was very productive because it helped me to save some time. Before we do, let's jump in with likes and subscribes. As we go through this, drop a like, drop a comment, and we can talk about it. Today, the topic is making women work. What we're going to do here is we're going to talk about a date I had just a couple of days ago that went downhill pretty fast, but helped me to identify someone who I didn't want to invest the time in. Okay, before we do this, let's kind of paint a picture, tell a little story. Going through some swipes, find someone who I like, we share some interests, we go through some conversations via text that eventually lead to phone. Great. Set up a date, we meet, and in the date, things just never take off. Now, what I'm looking for in a date, basically, someone who's, fun, friendly. That's about all I'm looking for on a first date. This one didn't go there. This felt more like me talking to a business colleague, which could be nice in a business setting, but this wasn't a business setting. I'm not looking for a new business colleague. I'm looking for someone to date. And we never got there. So it's definitely not going any further. But let's talk about the steps that led to this. Part of what I did that I'm sure the date I was with didn't find particularly appealing, but I didn't care. She needs to be able to step up. And if she can't, I'm going to tell her to bounce. Let's just kind of get into this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. The interesting thing here is that looking at the profile, I saw a lot of things that were similar about what we like to do, just the kinds of hobbies we had, the way we like to spend our free time. Seemed to be someone who I could really enjoy spending time with. So, in that regard, great. Start the texting. Conversations go pretty well. It's interesting, witty banter back and forth. Move it to a phone call. And here's where things start to get weird. Schedule a phone call for a certain time. Okay? Little bit ahead of that time. Hey, something has come up. I can't make this time. Can we do something later? If someone needs to reschedule and they're vague, I don't really like that. I like to know, something specific that says, this is legitimately you having an issue, not just you having cold feet. But, okay, we'll work with it. New time gets scheduled. Call at that time, not around. Now I'm pretty much done. I'm not putting any more effort into trying to call. But she makes a call, apologetic about the time. And so we move into a conversation. It's like, okay, she made a call. I wasn't going to call her back at that point. And she seemed, sincere about meeting up, seeing where things could go. So great. Schedule a date. It's going to be a Sunday afternoon date. Fine. And this was going to be, we're fairly close to each other, but there's a bar that's a little bit closer to her that I've been wanting to go to because it looks fun. So scheduled for that. Kind of more convenient for her, not that inconvenient for me. The Sunday afternoon date starts to become problematic for her, but she has a reason. She's got some church event, so the first time that we set up probably was going to be too tight. She wanted to move it back an hour and a half. Fine, no big deal. Then that time becomes problematic. Again, that reschedule was vague. Oh, I'm not going to be able to make this new time either. Once again, I'm done. You aren't showing that you're serious if you're constantly rescheduling. Says you got cold feet or you're lazy. In either case, not somebody who I want to invest time in. Now, She reaches out and kind of does the whole, let's talk, let me know if we can still go out. I just fire off, you tell me the day that works. Like I'm not putting any more work in. You can step up. She gives me a day and a time that work for her. And now I'm sort of in the half checked out mode. So there's no more scheduling, there's no more being considered. It's like, okay, here's a place we can go to that's like a 5-minute walk from my house. So I'm not going to be inconvenienced at all. The trick here is make her work. Because if you see how they respond to needing to do just a little bit of work, you can get a lot of insight into who they are. If tiny bit of work freaks them out, they feel horribly inconvenienced, they don't think things are fair, that's not a red flag. That's a bomb. I mean, blow that thing up, get the heck out of Dodge. Imagine what will happen when they need to do something more substantial. This was you hop in an Uber, you come to my town. That was a little bit of a rub for her, although I didn't realize it at the time. On the date, we meet at this bar. I'm there. She comes rolling in. I mean, like 5 minutes late. No big deal. And here's how things go bad. But this is also why I encourage you guys to stay strong, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're finding the right women, not just that we're presenting ourselves as the right kinds of guys. Her first statement, which I found funny, was, "You made me travel to you?" Not in a joking way, more in like an accusatory way. To which I responded, you rescheduled so you can do the traveling. Now, that one shocked her, which was funny. Just, she was expecting a different response. She was like trying to put me in a box of, you go on the defensive. I'm not happy about having to be inconvenienced by traveling, so I want you to know that I'm annoyed. But my response of, so what, threw her. She wasn't expecting it. I don't think she really got over it. Because through the date, she's, basically a bit more business-like. Again, it felt more like I was talking to a work colleague than someone who was interested in dating. And here's the part that's the most curious. This is a woman in her 40s, never married, no kids, concerned about, her ability to have kids, wants to have kids, not putting any effort into selling herself. One of the things that I think is the big problem is that women sell themselves the wrong way. If they try to sell themselves on their education and their career, all they're telling you is that they have a great big safety net. And it's easy for them to bounce out of a relationship if it's not perfectly suiting them. That's not a sales pitch. That's like all the problems. That's a detailed problem report of the reasons why I don't want to buy in. On a date, I'm looking for, friendly. Are you friendly? And are you fun? Those are pretty low hurdles, but those are critical factors for me to identify on a first date. If I don't see that, I'm not going to stick around. I found this date useful because just the small inconvenience of her having to get in an Uber and travel sort of set her off. I can only imagine if there was something more substantial down the road that comes up, such as, stop spending so much money on clothes. I'm trying to move us into a new house in a better school district for our kids. Stop thinking about some of these things. I'm trying to help us do something else with our lives. And it's not because you can't have a negotiation about it, but it's because small inconveniences were problems. Imagine how problematic big inconveniences would be. Moral of the story, make them work. Make them do a little bit of work. See how they respond. If they respond well, great. You might have somebody who's a winner. If they can't handle it, let them bounce. Goes back to the moral of the story. In this sweet spot, there are a whole lot of contestants in this game of musical chairs. There are not enough chairs to go around. Some people are going to be left out. Women who get it, who put some effort into selling themselves to the guys that they like, are going to be the winners. Women who sit and complain about how inconvenient things are for them and who fundamentally show, lazy positions on trying to meet guys, well, they're going to be the ones who don't get the chairs. Anyway, make them work, watch the results, and ultimately play to win.